Good afternoon and welcome to a glorious afternoon at Cobham Rugby Club, where on this bank holiday weekend we have got a cracking London derby for you. That's right, Harlequins under-18s are taking on Saracens under-18s in this last game of this short little season. Both of them coming in from a win and looking to get those bragging rights and finish on a high. Now we'll get all the inside scoop from the Harlequins camp from my co-commentator Gary Street, but to talk you through the Saracens team and what they've been doing is their under-18s coach James Tyrrell.
Yeah, it should be a good game. Always a good game against Quins. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Coming to this with some great form as well, 3 wins out of 3.
Yeah, like the boys are trying hard. That's the main thing. We've had very little preparation this year due to COVID. So yeah, it's just important the boys get an opportunity to express themselves.
You say that as well with COVID, such tight preparations, tight schedule. What has been the approach and how have you asked the players to approach these last 3 games and the upcoming games today?
Yeah, it's just making sure that they're safe out there, so prepping their body from a physical point of view, but then also diluting some of the detail just to basically allow these players to go out and, like I said before, express themselves and enjoy themselves.
Absolutely. A couple of changes as well from the team that beat Bristol. Can you just explain a couple of those?
Yeah, just due to injury really.
Yeah.
And also giving other boys opportunity.
Absolutely. And well, Harlequins had a great win of their own against Worcester last week. What are the danger areas that you're looking at with this Harlequins side you're looking to attack?
To be fair, at academy level we don't really look at other teams apart from ourselves, just because of the limited time we have with the boys. So look, we just focus on ourselves. We go out there, we attack space and we're hunting defence and yeah, enjoy it.
Absolutely. And as well, I've noticed as well, Charlie Reynolds-West scored a try against Bristol. He's coming in as well, should form a great half-back pairing with Tobias Elliott as well.
Yeah, again, just trying to change it around. It'd be good for Charlie to get a start, but also Charlie Bracken to come off the bench and experience that. So yeah, good luck to him.
And last of all, the last game between you guys came back in February 2020, last day of the regular season before the finals day as well, looking to get those bragging rights again?
Yeah, again, like we don't really focus too much on the outcome. It's more kind of seeing how the boys are developing, and if we get the win then happy days. If not, hopefully the boys perform well, and from an individual point of view that they're developing on their journey.
Well, James, we're looking forward to the game today. Good luck.
Awesome. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Thank you. So one last friendly for both of these sides to play out here at Cobham, and it should be a cracking London derby for you on this bank holiday weekend. My name is Warren Moulton, your lead commentator. I have the pleasure of being joined by the man who knows all about academy setups and knows all about winning as well, thanks to his great qualification with the Women's World Cup win back in 2014, Gary Street. Good to see you again after last week.
Good to see you again, Warren, and as I always say, don't really like talking about the World Cup, but you can mention it again if you want.
We'll get it in there, we'll take that one off. And as well, looking into this game, so just before we talk about the teams themselves, let's just talk about the team news. So we'll start off with the Harlequins team. So there are only really 2 changes to the starting 15. One of them comes in the front row with Tosin Tariba coming in for Ethan Clark. He's one of the 2 Gordon School representatives, a part of the new partnership between Harlequins and the school. And the other change is at scrum half, with one Rosslyn Park player for another, with Murray being replaced by Murdoch Locke. He's looking to set up the back 3 of Cassius Cleves, Connor Orisanya and Connor Slevin, who have 10 tries in 3 games between them during this set of friendlies. Captain for the day is Johnny Green as well. But as for the visitors, they are going to face one of the biggest challenge they've had of the month so far against their London rivals. So there is changes in the front row again, with Eamon Osabor making way for Freddie Chapman and Casper Jack switching on the flank, with Anthony Mark in and Luca Fahey making way. Reynolds West was rewarded for his try against Bristol Bears last week with a starting position, and Jensen McInulty comes onto the left wing for Mikhail McFarlane. Meanwhile, Dan Hoyes takes up the same position that he got in the London Irish win in the middle of May in place of James Norman. So a couple of changes for both of these sides, looking to keep it fresh, as we see with these academies so often, just looking to give everybody an opportunity, and there will certainly be opportunities from the bench as well. So Ethan Clark, having started against Worcester last week, he'll take his place on the subs bench. There has been a late change, just to make you aware, so there is no Finn Tors anymore. There is a place for Ben Waghorn at number 20. He's joined by Caleb Ashworth, Enzo Pedersen and Charlie Clare, who make way. James Thorne, Christian Tate and Lorcan O'Byrne Nest are all making way, and there's the place for Jack Dory Palmer, who scored against London Irish. Meanwhile, over on the Sarries bench, there's a bit of a shuffle. The shuffle in the front means there's spaces for Charlie Keefe and Corradi Sanusi. Meanwhile, Charlie Bracken drops into the scrum half position. And we also have an extra substitution. So if you see someone wearing number 24, don't panic. That is only Afolabi Abiola from Ravenswood School. So, Gary, 2 London teams, bank holiday weather Saturday. Lovely conditions as opposed to last week. What are you expecting from this game?
I'm expecting a load of tempo, a load of physicality. You know, last game of the season for these boys. It's a massive rivalry, isn't there, Saracens and Quins, so that'll be that as well. So I'm expecting an absolute stormer today.
Now, we both watched the Harlequins win when they beat Worcester 56-12, 8 tries run in. Over the time that you've been close to the academy teams, what is the changes that you've seen from this team?
I think there's probably a bit of confidence that came out definitely at the end of London Irish game and definitely the second half last week, and there will be opportunities for others off the bench, but I think the bit of continuity with pretty much the same side will help them start. So I think just probably more of the same, really.
Seeing a couple of the boys in action, just running through those moves. There's the hooker Nathan Jabulu, who had a strong game last week. Any others who stood out for you during the win over Worcester?
I think there was quite a few. I think the pretty good back three, weren't they? They had their threats with the ball, but strong in the middle, and the forwards just worked and worked. So lots of really positives for me.
Of course, on the other side of the pitch, though, is a team that has won all 3 of their friendlies before this, beating Northampton 34-31, before travelling to London Irish at Hazelwood to beat them, and then recording a 31-12 win over Bristol last week at the Stonex Stadium. Where are the dangers in this Saracens side?
All over. They're a really good side. They've had a cracking run of friendlies, getting pace. They're going to be physical at the breakdown. In defence, they've got a huge line speed, and you saw those who watched last week that we've got trying to get our line speed up as well, and I think there'll be very little room, and it'll be sides who probably just control the ball for longer periods and probably play in some decent areas, because it's going to be a big collision in the middle.
It is. What probably a lot of people are going to be involved in that, perhaps some of the pack, and such as Abina and Quosha, and we're also seeing Tyler Weeks in there as well, and Jensen McKinnelty who comes in. There's a lot of players playing at the top of the game at under 18 level in this Saracens side as well. There's going to be a lot of confidence. You expect that to come across in this game? Yeah,
definitely. The results will give that to them as well, what they've done, but they have got some players that are sort of ripping it up in the 18s, and I think it's a great opportunity to see where both sides are at, with the Quins boys obviously going to want to make a mark as well.
So I'll have a look at some of the Quins players. Let's just give us a bit of an insight into Tosin Tariva, the number 3 for Harlequins, because he's starting, and he was also involved in the under-17s game last week as well.
Yeah, he was. So, Tosin, they say, through the great progress that Chris Davis is running down at Gordon's with our DICE programme. 2 of the starting props from the 17s last week. There's a Caleb Ashworth on the bench as well. But Tosin, the last few months, the difference we've seen him confidence-wise, fitness-wise, and really deserves his place today. So looking forward to seeing how he goes.
And also a place in there for Murdoch Lockett, a scrum half as well, one of the Wellington College players. So he should be. How does he? Because Murray was really involved in the attacking play, but was to helping move quickly. He started off that quick penalty for the 3rd try, which Cassius Cleves sprinted into in the corner. So what do you expect to see from Murdoch Lockett? Yeah,
I know the coaches and Jordan Turner Hall particularly. We want quick ball. We want to play with tempo. It's a big message. Lightning quick ball. So Murdoch, I think, will be getting to breakdowns very quickly, scanning, and then the ball will be gone. I don't think we'll be having too many 3, 4, 5 seconds rucks today.
I see that physicality in the warm-up, just as you were talking about, Gary.
Yeah, and it is, and I think mentally for both, I think it's ended up with a Quins Sarries final game of the season, and both sides know they're going to get rest after this. So I think it's going to be 70 minutes of no buzz hold, really.
Then it has that extra bit of spice, doesn't it, with the London rivalry. Last time these 2 teams played was back in February 2020 on the last regular day of the under-18 season. Harlequins losing 19-29. I know that these teams change very regularly at academy level, but you must still get that little bit of extra passion for today's game when you know you're going up against Saracens.
Yeah, it is, and I say historically, people who know the results will know sort of the successes and defeats we've had both ways round, and they're going to be wanting to make sure that this is their time and put a big W on before everyone goes for a pre-season rest.
I should say, actually, we should welcome, of course, Saracens supporters that we have joining us on the live stream, if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, because, of course, the first 15 game was postponed due to a COVID outbreak in the Hartbury squad. But just reflecting on Saracens, it's been a very strange season for everybody, I think. But seeing them in the Championship and the way they've approached every game since the Cornish Pirates defeat, it must send a great message to these youngsters as well, showing it doesn't matter what game you're playing, you've always got to be at your best.
Yeah, they're a great club, aren't they? And right from top to bottom now, and obviously there's been a few trials and tribulations, but they want to let the rugby do the talking and say the job they're doing in the Championship, the pathways from Saracens into the first team is clear, and same at Quins. We want to see these boys putting on Quins and Saracen shirts over the next 2 or 3 seasons, and that's what's really exciting about both these groups.
And as well, the last words being said between the Saracens under-18 coach James Tyrrell, who you can see in the middle of the pitch, commanding different things. Can you just give us a bit of insight into him as a coach?
Yeah, it's top boy JT. He's been around on the scene a long time, and he'll bring energy as well from the side for Sarries, and you can see it in the warm-up. I think he'd quite like to play himself if he could. So lots of energy from both sets of coaches.
He's certainly been involved for a long time, as you say, Tindall. But I believe that he's just got involved in the England under-20 setup as well, as doing some assistant role in there as well. Yeah,
and again, just great experience really, and we've got some really good English coaches around, and I think it'd be good to really utilise them.
And like you say, there must be something you can see in both of these sides as well, considering your role in setting up the whole academy programme for England Rugby as well back 21 years ago.
Yeah, it's moved on a lot since then. I think we had 15 girls, 15 boys, and obviously we're now into a huge academy programme throughout the country with every club. So, from little acorns, there's a pretty big tree growing now.
Certainly is. Well, funnily enough, this fixture in the under-18s isn't the only time that Saracens and Harlequins are going to come head-to-head this weekend, as the women will heads clash in the Allianz Premier 15s final. Now, Gary, you have a good insight into that. As the former Harlequins women's head coach, they must be really excited about that game.
Oh, it's a huge game tomorrow. Saracens won the